Today, I'm going to be talking about something I talked about a month ago, actually, and that is happiness. And so this talk is entitled Happiness Revisited. Maybe you remember the talk. I talked about how ecstatic people were when they won an enormous lottery. They were beyond happy. They were dancing on air. They were so excited. They were so delighted, so full of it, so joyous, really. But researchers found when they interviewed them anywhere from 3 to 5 to 10, 12 years after receiving this enormous sum of money, many millions of dollars, the majority told them that it had turned into a curse, into a nightmare, because they squandered it. They didn't know how to handle it. Money was borrowed from them, money was stolen from them. It went for big houses, it went for trips and fancy cards and lots of gifts to relatives and friends, high fashion, no parties and more parties. But then sadly, it also went to drugs, gambling, divorce, multiple marriages, and many times ended for them years later in bankruptcy, tax evasion, drug addiction, chronic anxiety, enormous debts, and in one case, suicide. Now, there were some who could handle it and handle it wisely. They didn't change their lifestyles dramatically. They did just fine. They invested it. They knew how to handle this enormous windfall of money. But they were the first to say that it wasn't the money that made them happy. You would think, but that wasn't it. It was actually the things that money couldn't buy, like family and close friends, that provided the really great, reliable source of happiness. Interesting. Now, some other things I talked about a month ago uh, were to there were ways to make yourself happy, and one of them was to consistently practice gratitude to God for the mind-boggling number of good things that are around us. If you just open your eyes and look, just take a look around you. You look for it, you'll always find it at hand. And I also suggested that the more things you do that you really enjoy, good things, that increases your happiness quotient. It makes you feel good to be able to do the things you really enjoy doing. Treat yourself to them, yes. Also, giving of yourself will reliably increase happiness, as well as remembering that wonderful old spiritual law, like attracts like, which boils down to give what you want to get. Give it first and it'll come. You need others' understanding. You need their love, their patience, their help, their trust. Give, give what you want to get, and you will receive it back. Life works that way. The universe works that way. It's been interesting to me to find out that there is a pretty high correlation between happiness and a longer, healthier life. You would think that that would probably work that way, but it doesn't always. Happy people sometimes die young. But per capita, the longest living people in the world live in Okinawa, Japan, one of the islands of Japan. Over 900 centenarians, people over 100 years old, plus numerous other Okinawans who are in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, are to be found just about every place. And this in a population of about 1.5 million people. It's it's the highest percentage in the world, actually. What is their recipe for a long life? Well, it's thought that diet, physical activity, and once again, close family and social and friend relationships. In this society, seniors are valued, and they are part and parcel of the society. And so that accounts for, so people feel, much of their longevity. Now, Okinawans eat very little red meat. They eat lots of fish, rice, vegetables, and tofu, some rice wine, yes. But these seniors aren't worrywart. They are not worriers. They don't get stressed out. They have very few negative emotions, and many keep very active physically, either moving around, visiting people, or in their small vegetable gardens. They're optimistic people. They're happy people. They're happy in their work. They're happy in their closeness to their neighbors and to their friends and family. Another place, Sardinia. That's an island off the coast of Italy. Sardinia is another place where people live extraordinarily long, healthy lives. And there are other places around the world as well. Loma Linda, California, believe it or not. There are Seventh day Adventists who are vegans there, who live a very, very healthy lifestyle. Nicoya, Puerto Rico, and in Greece as well. There's sections of those places where people live extraordinarily long, healthy lives. What do they have in common? Exactly the same thing. They're doing exactly the same thing. A simple diet, unprocessed foods, lots of physical activity, walking, visiting, doing things, staying busy, keeping their homes, doing their gardens. And again, the close ties, the social ties with family and friends and church and community. And certainly this works beautifully for all of them. In addition, they have life qualities, qualities that are fairly common to this society, and that is spirituality, positive attitudes. These things are routine in their lives, part of the way they think of themselves and they think of other people. Now, who in the room would not like to live a long, healthy, active life? Nobody. Or everybody. Yes, everybody. Wouldn't we? And so, how do we do it? We can follow their example, of course. A good diet, staying away from processed foods, physical activity, less sitting, more exercise. You don't like to exercise, huh? Find something you do like to do that keeps you moving. Maybe it's water aerobics or croquet, or maybe it's something like line dancing, yes, or bowling, or something that keeps you going to it time and again and enjoying it, doing it. And again, the same theme throughout. Cultivate friends, family, church members, pleasant interactions with maybe your fellow workers or neighbors. That's so important. You know, there was one study that said as much as 70% of our happiness comes from our relationships with other people. So don't just stay by yourself. Don't just push people aside. Bring them in, accept them, enjoy them, love them. But that's not all. That's not all. There are other things that enhance our quality of life. There's been so much research that's been done to find out what does make people happy. And they have found, and we've talked about this some before too, they have found that the beginning of your day can set the tone for the whole rest of the day. Have you ever thought of establishing a morning ritual or an evening ritual if that's better for you? Or maybe you already have a spiritual ritual. How many? Wow. Lots and lots and lots of you. Beautiful. Wonderful. You get an A plus. So if we can start our days with some kind of spiritual activity, prayer or spiritual reading or meditation, it's it's enhancing to the rest of our days. Now, whether you have already established some kind of a spiritual start to your day, how about making it your business to start including affirmations, positive spiritual statements each morning? You know, you're washing your face, or you're shaving, you're combing your hair. Maybe you have to pack a sandwich for lunch, or you're driving to work. Of course, you're so often mentally listing, well, I've got to do this, don't forget to do that, and pick up such and be sure to call whoever. Why don't you try saying to yourself, God is helping me to remember this and to do this and do it well, or something else on that order. If you ask, believe me, it'll happen time after time. It'll fall into place. Now, if you're putting on your makeup, doing that sort of thing, and you're happily anticipating seeing somebody that you enjoy, or you're looking forward to something good that's going to happen that day, what do you think you might say to God then? Help me. What would you say to God? Thank you. Very right, exactly. Thank you, God, for this fun that I'm going to have today, this good thing that's going to happen. Or maybe at work, yeah, it's going to fall into place easily. Anybody else got any other idea what you would say to God when you're really looking forward to that good thing? How about some more about this? Come on, God. Even more, thank you very much. You could ask that. But saying thank you, that's so basic and wonderful. Or when you're shaving or you're combing your hair and you know that your day has to include somebody who is pretty unhappy. And it isn't going to be a very easy thing to do. Or there is something you've got to do and not looking forward to it. It's not going to be fun. Then what do you say to God? Help me. What would you say? Thank you, God. Any
For the uplifting, for the illumination, to turn this, what I see as something light or dark into light in your spirit.
Okay, that's a very good one. Thank you very much, Vilma. Come on, some of the rest of you. What are you going to say to God when, boy, it isn't going to be much fun? Aha! Thank you for helping me to stay focused on you. Exactly.
Gratitude first, last, and always.
Gratitude first, last, and always. Okay. I'm gonna be grateful for this because I'm gonna learn something. I'm gonna stretch. There's going to be a harmony. There'll be a healing, maybe a help. Anybody else? Those are good answers. Gosh, thank you. Thank you. And that's exactly the way we can do it. What it will produce is a happier, faith filled day for you, a more harmonious day for you. I understand that a Duke University researcher found that more than 40% of the actions we perform every day aren't actually decisions, they're habits. 40% of every day we are on autopilot. Hmm. How many times have you driven someplace and you have no memory whatsoever of the trip there? You just arrive, your head is someplace else. What was that? Autopilot. Absolutely, the habit. How about the times you were mowing the lawn or brushing your teeth or doing laundry or any other task that you do frequently? Isn't your mind fully occupied with something else and paying no attention to what your hands are doing? Yeah, you're on autopilot. These tasks, time and again, become automatic habits. But with just a little bit of effort, a little bit, they can become happier times, more relaxed, more peaceful, if we remember to make the habit of not just talking to ourselves about this and that person and whatever, this has to be sent, but bringing God into it, talking to God about it. If you've ever wondered how anyone could follow Paul's words to pray always, that's exactly how you do it. You just talk to God about it. You talk to Him, and somehow things mentally fall into place. And what is your mood? Nothing but up. Making God part of your automatic habits turns life into something wonderful, something blessed, and something that feeds you on the inside. Absolutely. Absolutely. Make it part of your morning routine and talking to God, talking to Him about the day, using affirmations. You'll find it makes a marvelous difference. Now, who else lives to be, well, to a ripe old age, but healthy and active? Not those who get the most help, but interestingly, those who give the most help to others. Now, that's counterintuitive, really, because you'd think that the people who felt emotionally loved and emotionally and physically supported and helped would live the longest. But it's the people who are helping them, actually, who reach out in a loving, caring way, that live the longest. That time after time. In fact, these were the findings in an 80-year research. 80 years, they found the ones who gave the help lived the longest. Well, how? How in the world can we do that? Everybody lives busy lives. Everybody is piled up to here. Uh, how can we do that on top of everything else we're doing? Dedicate 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes only, to doing something for another person. Just 5 minutes. A compliment on somebody's attire that day. That'll give them a lift. You're looking good today. I hope you had a good night. A smile, just a friendly nod. Doesn't even take 5 minutes. A quick email saying, I was thinking of you and I hope everything's going well. Or a note, a little note, congratulating them on something that they did or something that happened in their life. 5 minutes. That's it. Most days, if not all days, you can afford 5 minutes. And that is giving. And that is helping you, believe it or not, even more than it's helping them. And it makes you a happier person. Did you know that going to church makes you happy? Yeah. Found it in time after time, survey after survey. It does help. Now, they say it doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with the religion. They say it's all about the friendships. It's about the connections and the enjoyment of the people in your faith community. That's what you get out of it. That might be true in many churches, but I think the teachings of this church have everything to do with why people come back here week after week or month after month. The friendships, the connections, the acceptance, the warmth are sort of the cherry on top of the sundae. When you come to Valley Community Church, you hear spiritual truths about yourself. You begin to see yourself in a new way, change your self-image, see through new eyes when you look at life. You are not a limited physical being, and that is what so many of us who first walked into this room believed. You are an immortal spiritual being, a spiritual being made in God's image and likeness. That is your primary identity, not what you do or who you're married to or who you're divorced from or who is your best friend or what section of the city you live in. Your spiritual identity is your primary identity. You are a unique creation, a special gift to life from God, and an indispensable part of God's plan for this world. You have all of God's qualities, His full likeness within you in that non physical dimension of you that we call the soul. You are infinitely more powerful. You are infinitely wiser and more loving than you have ever imagined. Life is a school where you learn more and more about your inner strengths, your inner goodness, the godly nature within you, and how to express it. God energy is the basic energy, the basic presence, the force within the universe. So God is all. He is omnipresent. That's the golden word that is the basis of divine science, omnipresence. He fills all time and space. He fills every one of you and me and everyone else. Every atom and cell of our body vibrate with the energy, with the wavelength of God. God approves of you without qualification. His nature is unlimited love, and his love for you is unconditional. It's not based on behaviors. For heaven's sakes, everybody makes mistakes. We learn how to do better through our mistakes, and God knows that. He made us to learn through mistakes. So we push that aside. He loves us unconditionally because we are part of him. We are part of God, inseparable from him. God's love for each one of us is not impersonal. It is deeply personal because he knows you are part of him. He sees within you himself. The truth of the universe is connection. It is membership. It is oneness. We are one with God. We are one with every child of God. We are one with God's whole creation. God always intended that life afford each one of his children a happy, a fulfilling life experience. Of course, he wanted that for us. He loves us. Would you want less for somebody you loved? No. And we can claim that birthright first by loving him back, by making him part of our lives. Loving him was what Jesus taught. We need to seek him and make him central. Bring him in. This infinite power of love acting through us fills us with love and enables us to give love as we have never before done so. And we can live wisely. We can eat wisely. We can do more exercise, stay physically active. We can enthusiastically cherish our friends, our family, our church friends, our loved ones, certainly, our community, but especially loving God is the best way of all. The best way to stay happy.